This is your moment. Not because everything is perfect, not because the path is clear, but because you decided to stand up anyway. Somewhere inside you is a power that refuses to be ignored, a voice that says you were meant for more than survival, you were meant to rise. The world may doubt you, circumstances may test you, and fear may whisper that you are not enough. But listen closely, belief is louder than fear when you choose to trust it. Victory does not begin when you win, it begins the moment you decide not to quit. Today is not about where you came from or what you lack, it's about where you're going and who you are becoming. Step forward with courage, walk with purpose, and remember this truth: once you believe you can do it, nothing can stop you. Be the life OFEVR. Belief is where every victory is born, long before the world sees results, trophies, or applause. It begins in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when doubt is loud and support is silent, when the dream feels heavier than the strength in your body. Belief is not a feeling that magically appears, it is a decision you make again and again, especially on the days when everything inside you wants to quit. The moment you believe you can do it, your mind starts searching for ways instead of excuses, your heart starts beating with purpose instead of fear, and your actions begin to align with a future you cannot yet see but deeply trust. Belief is not blind optimism, it is grounded faith in your ability to grow, learn, adapt, and rise even after you fall. Many people wait for confidence before they move, but confidence is built by moving. Belief comes first, action follows, and results chase commitment. Every great achievement in history started with someone believing in a possibility that others laughed at or ignored. Someone who chose faith over comfort and persistence over approval. When you truly believe, setbacks stop feeling like signs to turn back and start feeling like tests to prepare you for what's next. You understand that rejection is not a verdict on your worth, but a redirection toward something greater. Belief teaches you patience in the process because you know growth takes time and greatness is not rushed. It teaches you humility because you realize you are always becoming, never finished. On the victory path, belief becomes your anchor when storms come, your fuel when energy fades, and your compass when the direction feels unclear. It pushes you to show up early, stay late, and give more than what is required, not because someone is watching, but because you are. Belief changes the way you talk to yourself. Instead of saying, "I can't," you say, "I'm learning." Instead of saying, "It's impossible," you say, "It hasn't been done by me yet." The strongest battles you will ever fight are not with the world, but with the voice inside your head that questions your value, your timing, and your potential. Belief is how you silence that voice, not by shouting, but by proving it wrong through consistent action. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to believe enough to take the next step. One step turns into momentum. Momentum turns into discipline, and discipline turns into destiny. Even when fear is present, belief reminds you that courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear decide your future. On this journey, you will face moments where quitting feels easier than continuing, where comfort calls louder than purpose, but belief pulls you forward because it knows what comfort can never give you: fulfillment. Belief is choosing growth over excuses, responsibility over blame, and action over waiting. It is understanding that your past does not define you, your mistakes do not disqualify you, and your current situation does not limit what you can become. The victory path demands belief because without it, talent fades, opportunities are wasted, and dreams remain ideas instead of realities. But with belief, even limited resources become enough, even slow progress becomes meaningful, and even failure becomes fuel. Believe that you can do it, not because it will be easy, not because success is guaranteed, but because believing is the first act of courage that makes victory possible. Take fuel responsability for your life. Taking full responsibility for your life is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make, because the moment you stop blaming circumstances, people, or the past, you reclaim your power. Responsibility is not about guilt or self-criticism. It is about ownership. It is about realizing that no matter where you started, no matter what you were given or denied, the direction you move from this point forward is in your hands. Many people remain stuck not because they lack ability, but because they keep handing their power away, to excuses, to fear, to the opinions of others. When you take responsibility, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I going to do about it? That shift alone separates those who remain spectators in their own lives from those who step into leadership of their destiny. Responsibility means accepting that your habits shape your future more than your intentions, that your daily choices matter more than your occasional efforts, and that discipline is a form of self-respect. It means understanding that no one is coming to save you, and instead of feeling afraid, you feel free, because now you get to build the life you want. On the victory path, responsibility forces you to be honest with yourself. Honest about where you are, honest about what you need to change, and honest about the effort required to grow. It demands that you look in the mirror and recognize both your potential and your patterns, because awareness is the first step toward transformation. When you take responsibility, excuses lose their power. You stop saying, I don't have time, and start saying, this is not my priority yet. You stop saying, they held me back, and start saying, I allowed myself to stay here too long. This level of honesty is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating because once you see the truth, you can act on it. Responsibility also builds resilience. When you own your choices, failure no longer feels like a personal attack, it becomes information. You learn from it, adjust, and move forward stronger. Instead of waiting for motivation, you create structure. Instead of waiting for confidence, you build competence. You understand that growth is earned, not given, and that consistency beats intensity every time. Taking responsibility means choosing long-term progress over short-term relief, choosing discipline over drama, and choosing purpose over popularity. It means realizing that your environment will not change until you do, and that the quality of your life is directly connected to the standards you set for yourself. When you raise your standards, your behavior follows. Responsibility also changes the way you respond to adversity. Instead of asking who is at fault, you ask what can be learned. Instead of complaining about pressure, you recognize it as preparation. Life will test you, but responsibility ensures that those tests shape you rather than break you. On this journey, there will be moments when the weight feels heavy, when the effort seems invisible, and when progress feels slow. Responsibility reminds you that small steps, taken consistently, still move you forward. It reminds you that every disciplined decision is a vote for the person you want to become. You stop comparing your path to others because you are too focused on honoring your own. You stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself the approval you've been seeking from the world. Taking full responsibility for your life does not mean you control everything. It means you control your response to everything. And in that response lies your power. When you accept responsibility, you step out of victimhood and into leadership. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop surviving and start building. This is the moment you realize that your future is not written by chance, but by choice, and the victory path belongs to those brave enough to take ownership of every step. Discipline DNTORALTY. Discipline is the quiet force that transforms intention into achievement and separates those who only dream from those who actually build the life they imagine. Dreams are easy to have, everyone has them. What is rare is the willingness to do the work when the excitement fades and the results are not immediate. Discipline is showing up on ordinary days with extraordinary commitment. It is choosing structure over chaos, consistency over comfort, and long-term growth over short-term pleasure. On the victory path, discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in action. It is the daily decision to honor your goals even when no one is watching and applause is nowhere to be found. Motivation may spark the journey, but discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. Life does not reward what you intend to do, it rewards what you consistently do. Discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds belief. Each small action, repeated daily, becomes evidence that you can be trusted with bigger responsibilities. Discipline teaches you patience because it understands that meaningful results take time. It reminds you that success is rarely loud or sudden. It is built quietly through habits that compound over time. When discipline becomes part of your identity, excuses lose their grip on you. You stop negotiating with yourself and start executing. You stop waiting for the perfect mood and start acting on purpose. Discipline is waking up early to work on yourself before the world demands your energy. It is staying focused when distractions are everywhere and comfort is always calling your name. On this path, discipline strengthens your mind before it ever strengthens your results. It trains you to do what is necessary, not what is convenient. When challenges arise, and they will, discipline keeps you steady. It prevents emotional decisions from derailing long-term goals. Instead of reacting, you respond. Instead of quitting, you adjust. Discipline gives you control over your impulses, your time, and your direction. It teaches you that freedom is not found in doing whatever you want, but in being able to do what truly matters. Without discipline, talent fades and opportunities slip away. With discipline, even average ability becomes extraordinary. It closes the gap between where you are and where you want to be by turning effort into habit and habit into character. Discipline also builds confidence, not the loud, temporary kind, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. When you keep promises to yourself, your self-trust grows. That self-trust becomes unshakable strength. On the victory path, discipline is what allows you to push through boredom, resistance, and fatigue. It reminds you that progress does not always feel good, but it is always worth it. Discipline reframes struggle as training and discomfort as growth. It prepares you to handle success with humility and pressure with grace. As you stay disciplined, you begin to realize that the hardest part is not the work itself, but the decision to start and continue every day. Discipline simplifies life by removing unnecessary choices. You already know what needs to be done. You stop wasting energy on doubt and start investing it in execution. Over time, discipline reshapes your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to succeed, but as someone who does the work required to win. This mindset shift is powerful because identity drives behavior. When discipline becomes who you are, success becomes what you do. Dreams stop being distant fantasies and start becoming measurable goals. Each disciplined action is a step forward. Each consistent effort is proof of progress. Discipline does not guarantee an easy journey, but it guarantees a meaningful one. On the victory path, discipline is the bridge between belief and reality, and those who cross it with commitment discover that their dreams were never out of reach. They simply required the courage to stay consistent. Failure is a leçon, not a leçon. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood experiences on the journey to victory. Many people fear failure because they see it as a final judgment on their ability, their worth, or their future. But failure is not a dead end, it is a classroom. It is feedback wrapped in discomfort, designed to shape your character, sharpen your wisdom, and strengthen your resolve. On the victory path, failure is not something to avoid at all costs. It is something to learn from, grow through, and rise above. Every meaningful success is built on a foundation of mistakes, setbacks, and moments where giving up seemed easier than continuing. The difference between those who succeed and those who quit is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to let failure define them. Failure only becomes permanent when you decide to stop trying. Until then, it is simply part of the process. When you begin to see failure as information rather than humiliation, everything changes. You stop taking setbacks personally and start taking them seriously. You ask better questions. What went wrong? What can I improve? What must I do differently next time? This mindset transforms pain into progress. Failure forces you to confront reality, but it also invites you to grow beyond it. It humbles you, reminding you that mastery is earned, not gifted. It strengthens your resilience, teaching you how to stand back up when life knocks you down. On this path, failure develops emotional strength. It trains you to handle disappointment without losing direction and criticism without losing confidence. Instead of breaking your spirit, it builds your endurance. You learn that falling is not weakness, staying down is. Every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson prepares you for a higher level of responsibility. Failure strips away illusions and exposes what truly matters. It reveals your habits, your preparation, and your mindset. It shows you where discipline is lacking and where belief needs reinforcement. Rather than fearing failure, you begin to respect it. because you understand that growth demands discomfort. You cannot expand without resistance. You cannot evolve without challenge. On the victory path, failure is proof that you are trying, stretching, and pushing beyond your comfort zone. Comfort never creates greatness, struggle does. Failure also builds character. It teaches patience when progress is slow and humility when success finally arrives. It reminds you to stay grounded, to stay hungry, and to stay focused on the process rather than the praise. Those who have failed deeply and risen again carry a different kind of strength, a quiet confidence that cannot be shaken by opinion or pressure. They know what it feels like to fall and still move forward. Failure teaches you empathy, allowing you to understand others who are struggling and lead with compassion rather than ego. It also clarifies your purpose. Sometimes failure redirects you, closing one door so you can find the one that truly belongs to you. What feels like rejection is often protection. What feels like loss is often preparation. Failure tests your commitment. It asks one simple question: how bad do you want it? When things go wrong, will you retreat, or will you respond with greater focus and effort? Those who win understand that setbacks are temporary, but the lessons last forever. They use failure as fuel, not as an excuse. They refuse to let one moment define their entire journey. On this path, failure teaches you to detach your identity from your outcomes. You are not your losses. You are not your losses. You are the person who learns, adapts, and keeps moving forward. This perspective frees you from fear and allows you to take bold action. When fear of failure no longer controls you, your potential expands. You take risks, try new approaches, and grow beyond limitations you once accepted. Failure becomes a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. Each time you rise stronger, wiser, and more prepared than before. The victory path belongs to those who understand that failure is not a life sentence, it is a lesson. Lessons are meant to be learned, not feared. Faith Jordan CRASUNSTOPABBL. Faith in your journey is the invisible force that keeps you moving forward when results are delayed, paths are unclear, and confidence feels tested. It is believing that every step you take, seen or unseen, is shaping you for something greater. Faith is not about having all the answers. It is about trusting the process even when the outcome is uncertain. On the victory path, faith becomes your inner anchor. When the noise of comparison, doubt, and impatience grows loud, faith reminds you that your journey is uniquely yours and does not need validation from the world. Too many people quit not because they are incapable, but because they lose trust in the process too soon. Faith keeps you steady during seasons of waiting, working, and becoming. It teaches you that progress is not always visible, but it is always happening. Just because you cannot see growth does not mean it is not taking place. Roots grow before branches, strength builds before success shows. Faith allows you to commit fully without demanding immediate proof. It helps you walk forward even when the next step feels heavy. On this path, faith fuels patience. It reminds you that timing matters and rushing can sabotage what consistency is meant to build. When you trust your journey, you stop measuring your success against someone else's timeline. You understand that comparison is a distraction that steals joy and focus. Faith shifts your attention inward, toward growth, discipline, and alignment. It allows you to stay focused on what you can control, your effort, your mindset, and your commitment. Faith also strengthens resilience. When setbacks occur, faith keeps you from interpreting them as signs to stop. Instead, you see them as part of the refinement process. You realize that obstacles are not evidence of failure, but confirmation that you are moving forward. Every challenge carries purpose, every delay carries preparation. Faith teaches you to remain calm under pressure because you trust that difficulty is temporary and growth is permanent. On the victory path, faith keeps you consistent when motivation fades. It gives meaning to the grind, purpose to the struggle, and direction to your discipline. Faith is what allows you to keep showing up without applause, recognition, or reassurance. It teaches you to work in silence and let results speak later. Faith also builds inner confidence, not the loud confidence that seeks attention, but the quiet confidence that knows who you are becoming. You stop doubting every decision and start trusting your instincts because they are shaped by experience, effort, and intention. Faith transforms fear into courage. Fear may still exist, but it no longer controls your actions. You move forward despite uncertainty, knowing that growth lies on the other side of comfort. Faith allows you to take risks, embrace change, and step into opportunities that once felt intimidating. On this journey, faith creates momentum because it keeps you moving. Momentum is not built by speed alone, it is built by consistency. One step taken in faith leads to another and another until movement becomes unstoppable. Even slow progress, when sustained, creates powerful forward motion. Faith keeps you aligned with your purpose. It reminds you why you started when the road gets hard. It reconnects you to your vision when distractions pull at your attention. Faith also cultivates gratitude. You begin to appreciate how far you've come instead of constantly worrying about how far you have to go. Gratitude strengthens faith, and faith strengthens endurance. This cycle keeps you grounded and focused. On the victory path, faith helps you accept that not everything will make sense right away. Some lessons are only understood in hindsight. Some struggles reveal their purpose only after you've grown through them. Faith allows you to move forward without bitterness, trusting that everything is contributing to your development. When you believe in your journey, you stop resisting challenges and start using them. You stop fearing uncertainty and start embracing possibility. Faith reminds you that you are not behind, you are being prepared. And when preparation meets opportunity, momentum becomes unstoppable. Trust your journey. Stay committed. Keep moving. Victory is not just about the destination, it is about who you become along the way.